I just received this through the post. It's basically just direct mail advertising for services for printed materials. And I mentioned this one because this feels really nice. And obviously it doesn't come across on camera, but it's just got this like mysteriously velvety, lovely feeling to it. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's a cool idea. You could say, send these out as a form of marketing to my potential clients. If I'm considering now really maximizing my effectiveness with marketing my dance connection tutelage, then I can use something like this. It's quite low cost, and the idea could be, if you like the feel of this, then you'd love, and then my services, you know, dance connection, partner dance connection, tutoring, or whatever it is. It's along those lines, and it's a simple, like reiteration of the dance tutoring falling under the same category of body, and I can represent body with the senses and all this, like conceptual stuff of resource is coming to mind in the background, all while it's seeming to be congruent with ideas like this. If I was to just, it's a very simple idea. It seems like a throwaway idea, but the more that I get creative ideas inspired in the moment of attuning to a high mind state, then I deeply feel that those ideas are the most effective if actually carried out straight away, without any delay, if possible. But what I tend to do is I tend to just bank my ideas. I tend to just maybe document them, maybe write them down, make a quick note, but then I'll forget immediately. So then what's the next best, quickest way to document a thought, an idea, especially in a high mind state? It's making a voice note or making a video note. So I'm kind of two in one, giving me a reminder that this is just a simple idea made in the high mind state. And I bet that if I was to actually try it, it'll be somewhat effective, or more effective than I would ever have imagined, because I keep stopping myself. If I use my mind and I travel down the idea and I future project and I think, oh, I'll do this, and I plan that, and I basically like imagine it formulating in the future just in my mind. And when I do that, I ultimately come across a series of challenges and series of like difficulties, all just in my mind. And then at some point I'll meet a wall, and I'll be like, oh, that's going to be pending on that, and I can't control that, and whatever. And then the kind of the traction of the idea starts to lose traction, and it's all just happening in my mind. And all the while, the idea is not being jotted down to be memorized, to be executed. I'm just in my mind without actually realizing it, without actually going ahead and doing the things that come to mind. And most of the time it's just because it's inconvenient. You can't possibly drop everything and go like work on that idea immediately as soon as you have a novel idea, no matter what state you're in. It's impractical. So that's kind of one of the things that Elizabeth Gilbert touches on when she's talking about genies and genius and that kind of thing, and the relationship to an aspect of yourself, which in her case, she's talking about creativity. She's talking about a genie. And if you externalize your source of like profound creativity to come from an external source, such as a genie or a little like house, gnome or elf that you can imagine, a little pixie, a mysterious, mystical creature. And it helps to identify something in the third person, whether it's like a part of you inside, or which is my explanations within resource, or you rely on some kind of like fanciful fictional narrative of thinking of the source of your inspirations coming from a little creature, a little genie, and that relationship between yourself and that, and whenever it crops up, whenever an idea pops into your head, in her case, you're a writer, you're an author, and an idea pops into your head and you want to write it down, you want to document it, so ultimately you can share it with the world as a source of great value and introspection. And I'm kind of like doing the same thing in my own little way. And so this is just kind of a spontaneous flow of consciousness based around the triggering of an idea that came to me whilst in a high mind state.